right, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Tennessee WildCast.
Yeah, the Tennessee WildCast. I haven't forgotten. I'm getting there. It's only gone a week. Did a great job, by the way, last week, you and Don King.
Thank you. We missed you.
I'm glad to be back. I don't know what's been going around here in Middle Tennessee, but I was a victim of it. And maybe still a tad down. But anyway, it's good to be back. This is Tennessee WildCast. Jason Harmon. This is the weekly show of the TWA Weekly Podcast, and we're glad to have you here. Last show of 2016, which means we're going to start talking about 2017.
Yep.
And we have a show full of things that are going to be important to what's coming up early in the year for you as a hunter, as a fisherman, as a wildlife watcher, as somebody who just wants to get outside, can't stand sitting in the house all winter long.
Right.
Because you shouldn't be sitting in the house all winter long.
There's too much going on to be sitting in the house. I can tell you that much.
We got just 2 pages of stuff we're going to talk about. All interesting, okay? Every bit of it. And one thing, Jason, just hit my mind that's not on here, tilapia. There is a lake in Tennessee, in Middle Tennessee. It's Old Hickory Lake, and there's an area called the Sting Plant. Mm-hmm. And somehow these tilapia, these tropical fish have gotten in there. And, of course, you see tilapia at every grocery store you go to. There's boxes of it frozen. Well, these fish have somehow got into the Gallatin Sting Plant, and anglers have just been whacking them. They're wearing them out. And I hear one of the best baits is just cut a little piece of worm, put it on a hook, throw it under a bobber. And you and I, if all works well, I'll get out in a minute.
If all goes well.
Thank you.
Schedule works out.
I told you there's still a tad of it hanging out there, but I know my name today. But anyway, there's a chance you and I are going to get out there and fish with a guy named Troy Basso and show folks how this is done. I keep thinking over the years that these fish are going to go away, but they keep multiplying, and anglers are catching the heck out of them.
Well, it's that discharge, right, from the steam plant.
It is.
The warm water, and they like it right there.
It is, and there's a barrier that won't let you go far back, something that I'm going to find out about. I keep getting asked to find out when the TVA is going to lift that barrier, as promised. But they're still catching fish way out from that barrier because that warm water discharge is way on down. It comes out, and for a long way down the river, it's warmer, and these fish somehow make it through the winter, reproduce. And if you don't know what tilapia is, a lot of these fish are used by folks that have farm ponds they get their bass in there and growing their bass, and they'll use them in the summertime because they reproduce so much, and they're always having these young 2, 3, 4 times during the summer. And so they provide great bait.
And
they've gotten to Old Hickory, and they provide great food.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're good eating, too.
Yeah, we even created a state record for them a year or two ago. So now if you go look at the state records that Tennessee has, tilapia is listed in there. And I hadn't looked at it last year or so, but it was 4 or 5 pounds. So they can get pretty large. I understand they fight pretty well. And we're going to do something fun on that here coming up in the new year if we can.
Well, I can't wait to catch some fish.
It'd be fun.
Hey, I want to say something else before we get too deep into it. Episode 44. We didn't get started. The show didn't get started at the beginning of 2016, but we've done 44 shows since we got started. So that's pretty cool.
March, I believe. So, 44. So we're getting there.
44 strong.
Special one. We appreciate those of you watching it. Tell your friends about it.
Yeah.
Look, this is about your agency, and we get so many great people here talking about what they're doing with their fishing programs and their hunt programs, or I should say their wildlife and fish programs, and with their watchable wildlife programs, and it's a way for you to learn from us. No, we're not real controversial. I don't slam the guys that come in here to get interviewed. If you want to do a show out there and do that, that's your business. But we do ask them some tough questions, and we do want them to tell you what's going on with the project you pay for. Sportsman dollars keep us going at this agency and have for a long time.
All about keeping the sportsman informed.
It is, and knowledge. It's all about knowledge. The more you know, just add this to that toolbox you got out there that you go out with and get on the water with and get in the woods with and know what we're doing on top of all that great knowledge you know about hunting and fishing, and it'll just help you and make you smart.
And you don't have to get online to get the show. You can just download it in iTunes, and it's on your phone or whatever, and go with it. Podcast version is easy to download and get pull it up on your phone when you're driving down the road or when you're busy. You can just be listening to it.
That's right. Yeah, sure. As you're taking that trip across town, going to Memphis in a couple of weeks, well, you are too, because we're going to a commission meeting.
Yes.
And it's a good chance to listen to some of the old shows. And we keep all the shows out there. There's some terrific shows out there about what's going on. And one of them, and I'm going to go ahead and get on our list, is about one or two of them is about the Tucker buck, the Tennessee Tucker buck. And here coming up, Jason, in the first of the year.
Are you going to hit one more thing first?
Yeah, let me do that. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Before we get to all that stuff, we want to talk about a couple things. One is the passing. Get the sad news out of the way. The guy on the left is Wade Bourne. He is a wonderful person. He passed away recently, And the next to him is Wade White. He's a county executive up in Kentucky, and this was a period of time where we were fighting the Corps of Engineers trying to shut down our access below dams, and Wade was a great help, both of the Wades. But the one in the back with the headset on is Wade Bourne, one of the best-known outdoor journalists in all of America, and he was cutting a Christmas tree and died shortly after cutting. Had a heart attack and died, and it just has shocked all his friends in the outdoors world. And he did something called Wired to Hunt and Wired to Fish. That was one of many things he did through the years on a national broadcasting, and that's what he's doing there. He's doing a Wired to with Wade White and national show, and I know all his listeners are going to miss him so much, but you saw him on TV for decades. You read thousands of his articles if you were just an avid reader of outdoors, and he wrote for all the national magazines. And not only was he a nice guy, he lived in Clarksville, Tennessee.
That's what I was going to say. He was native of Clarksville, right?
Native of Clarksville, had a terrific place. That's his house where at that, or actually it's his dog house, like I call mine, man house, whatever. We were in that day.
Man cave.
Man cave, that's right. And Wade was just a wonderful person, and we're going to miss Wade, and I just hate that it happened. And we'll remember him for a long time. His legacy will last a long time. He won just about every honor you get in the outdoors world out there. Never talked about it. He's just the man. Wrote all kinds of books. There's Wade Bourne books on hunting and fishing everywhere.
Well, speaking of books, he's in the he has a quote in our new coffee table book that we have out for sale.
Yeah, that's a wonder. Y'all did a good job talking about that last week.
Yeah, if you missed last week's show, go back and watch that and learn about that book. But you can buy one online at the foundation's website.
And see some terrific photography across the state, and quote from people like Wade that are well known in Tennessee and a lot of other folks. All right, now the Tennessee Tucker Buck.
That's it.
We're only a few weeks away now where that rack that you see Stephen Tucker holding there. This was at a commission meeting, and following the commission meeting, we went outside and took a bunch of photographs with this young guy, 26 years old, from Sumner County, Tennessee. This buck was taken near Gallatin, or in Gallatin, back at her in the muzzleloader. Possible world record, certainly one of the most elite, non-typical racks ever taken in America, even if it's not number one. But early to mid-January, Dale Grandstaff, the officer you see down on the bottom, he along with one or two others that are professional scorers,
certified
scores from Boone and Crockett, will measure that rack again, dry weight or dried, and see if it holds what the original measurement showed. The original measurement showed that it would be the world record, so we'll see. And Dale, as he said on this show, and you can go back and watch it, he was very conservative in his measurements and what he did. So you and I will be there. Barry Cross will be there. We're going to document this thing. We're going to put it on another podcast. We'll put it out on Facebook. And we'll let folks see what got found out, whether it holds as a world record or not.
We'll have some video and photos of that so you can see some of it happening.
With some cool music, right?
Yeah, we'll put something behind it. Some banjos, maybe.
We'll put something there. Anyway, I look forward to seeing that. And I like Steven. He's a nice young man, and look forward to seeing what happens that day. Maybe get the director down there to work with us a little bit, too.
But there's no doubt it's going to be the state record for sure, probably. I guess it will be for non-typical.
Yeah. There's no doubt. State record blown away. It's that's over.
Yeah.
Unless he breaks the rack before he gets it there or something like that. All right. And speaking of deer, while we're there, there's been some trouble lately. I think it's a little bit better getting harvest information off of our website. People are used to going in there and finding out, especially with the season getting close to an end, finding out where the harvest, how good it was, what counties did well, what wildlife management areas. That's going to get better in 2017.
Right.
The new vendor company we had called Brent is working on it, and a few weeks ago, Chuck Yost was on here. He said it's going to come back better than ever, and it's just going to be a terrific thing for you to look at. So just want to let you know it is coming back. Hopefully we'll have it before turkey season. I don't know what their timeline is on it, but unless you've heard something, Jason, it's going to get better. Have you made it better yourself, Jason?
I got to go a little bit earlier in the season, but I hadn't been since then. So
you didn't push it up any?
No.
All right.
Not yet.
All right.
I'm going to try to go this week.
You still got some time left. We're going to talk about the juvenile hunting here in a minute. But for every hunter, all hunters, including juvenile, you can take your youngster out right now.
Yep.
The deer season goes for all the state, for every bit of the state until January. Let me take my glasses off so I can see. January the 8th, okay? That goes everywhere across the state. You need to look at bag limits. And then there's that season you said started last year.
I think it was, think last year was the first year they started doing that.
Regardless, it's in Unit L only, and it's a season that goes from January 9th to January 13th, and Unit L, of course, is the part of the state that has the most deer in it.
And it's all antlerless.
It's all antlerless. So remember that in your guide on page 22, all right?
Yep.
It's all there. And then after that, one more hunt. The kids get to go on the
14th, 15th.
14th and 15th, and their bag limit is the same as everybody else's. If they've already harvested their 2 bucks, they're only looking for antlerless deer, okay? Or they're 2 antler deer, we have to say these days. They're only looking for antlerless. So make sure you do the right thing. Check out the guide. Get those kids outside. And next year, whenever, early in the year, that harvest information should be out there. Because I know some of you start researching long before deer season starts to see what you're going to do next year. All right, now, as we move on, waterfowl hunters.
Waterfowl, yes.
Waterfowl hunters. You waterfowl hunters got until late January. I'm not even looking at the back end of that date yet, but you got late till January. You're on your own. Make sure you look at our website to see some areas where drawings are done on the weekends, okay? Make sure there's some youth hunts that are going to be drawn coming up pretty soon on some of our areas west of here.
Right.
Make sure at TennesseeWildlife.org. We're also posting some on our Facebook. Put a lot of great stuff on our Facebook. We're 87,000 folks strong. We're going to keep it growing, and I hope you get out there because we're putting information on there from all across Tennessee.
And don't forget we're on Instagram too now. We're trying to keep that updated and Twitter. So
yeah, you're going to like our new app, our new phase coming up pretty soon. That'll be for later, but that's coming up in 2017 pretty quick too. So make sure you do that. There will be a youth hunt for juvenile too that we'll get into a lot more later. Back of the season again, they have 2 Saturdays after the regular season ends, and a lot of times that's the best 2 Saturdays of the year, I think. So Tennessee Uncharted, let's talk about them for a minute. We got a whole lot more hunting and fishing.
Well, let's
stuff
hit the Sandhill Cranes first since we're talking about waterfowl.
That's my bad notes. You're doing
That's all right. Hey, I'll keep you on track. You still got a little bit of
that, and I can't read my notes, but you're right. A little bit behind. Sandhill Crane coming up. This is such a cool event that's over at Burke School, I think.
Birchwood School. Yep.
And that's held
in Meigs County.
Thank you, Meigs County. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on there. Just so you can go watch the cranes. There's music. There's the Raptor show that the American Eagle Foundation puts on. There's all kinds of good stuff going on.
Route 66 is that who's going to be there?
No, it's Second Nature.
Second Nature.
Yeah.
You're in Route 66, right?
Yeah, I'm in the road crew, yes.
The road crew.
Yeah.
I'll get right on right.
You'll get it. You'll get it.
All right, but Second Nature is going to be there. And that's Don King.
Yep.
And he'll be in there with a couple. Dave Woodward's a good friend. And some other folks.
And Brant Miller.
Brant Miller, yeah.
But
so anyway, that's a lot of fun.
There's another I guess, Appalachian music kind of group's going to be there too. And then all the festivities with the birds and some booths set up, and then going to watch the cranes.
The cranes, and I think I saw a memo from Mimi the other day.
Yes.
Our information, she said the birds are already there.
And it's on Facebook. I think there was a little video on Facebook.
She did.
Check out our Facebook.
She put it out on Facebook, and that is fun. That is something for all the kids. If you just want to get outside, the kids love this thing. There's so many events going on. Lee Wilmot, who works there, told me there's a bus that shuttles people everywhere. You don't have to get out and do a lot of walking.
Yeah.
They will take care of you at this thing.
Back and forth from the school to the viewing site. So, Hiwassee Refuge.
All right. Now make sure I'm on the right order now here, Jason. So, all right, let's talk about Uncharted. They're in their early in their season, and Tennessee Uncharted has been on here recently. You can go watch Eric Baker and Taylor Walters on a show we recently did. Fun show with them about what all they're doing in 2017. They are getting outside and doing a lot of fishing and hunting style of activities, all about your state. And Eric is a fun guy. He's fun to talk to.
He is. Got a lot of energy.
He's a guy that really, he'd probably describe himself as an average sportsman at best that's always learning, and he shows how he learns to you, and just does a terrific job doing it. Personality's really great. But Tennessee Chartered, you can go out on their website and find out where all their broadcasts
exactly
and see what they're doing there. You can see a lot of them on TWA TV.
Right.
That we help out a lot with.
You can see this show on TWRA TV.
You can, and a lot of people are.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people are watching us out there now, and that's a good thing. TWA.TV. All right, coming up, stocking schedule. Is that where we are?
Yes.
Our hatchery crews are out there. Now, this is Jason's going to show you the stocking schedule here.
Now, this is under 4 anglers on our website.
Okay.
You click under 4 anglers. You can click trout information /stocking, and then right there is 2017 trout stocking schedule. And like we said last week on the show, it heats up in January, early January 4th.
It took a little break during the Christmas, and then after New Year's, they come back and go all over the place. And what you'll see that you don't see on there right now is that every now and then when we have some inclement weather or maybe something happens to a hatchery truck, you'll see something get crossed out with red or written in red, and it's just telling you that it's going to be rescheduled. It's been very few, if any, that have not ever been stocked. They've been rescheduled if we had an ice storm and the truck couldn't roll. But if you see that, look for when they're rescheduled and go out there and fish. These are 7 fish a day, no size limit, and take some fish home. And if you don't know how to cook trout, go online and find you a recipe or two and experiment. Trout can be very good. And these aren't big trout. They're great tasting trout. They're big enough to take home. And every now and then there is that golden egg of trout in there. They'll put in a little brood fish. That little brood fish might weigh 3, 4, 5 pounds.
Yeah.
And if you get that, you might want to go buy a lottery ticket because you've done well that day.
Oh, yeah.
It is a nice surprise. And speaking of hatcheries, Normandy Hatchery, place that I love. Normandy Hatchery is in Middle Tennessee. Oh, you want to talk about that first?
That was some of the catching.
Did we
some
get it?
shots from
Okay.
the
You already
trout.
showed that behind me?
Yeah, we already showed that. You want to hit the sauger real quick
We'll
and
do
the
that,
walleye stuff?
Yeah, that's part of it too. Sauger and walleye is this time of year, you might see a lot of our guys on the water. This is when our hatchery crews will get started again too. And they'll get out and they'll start looking for fish like these two. And that's Brian. I'm going to talk more about Brian James here in a few minutes toward the end of the show. But they'll get out with their nets, they'll get out below our dams, they'll get out down in our river systems, and they're looking for these big old brood walleye and sauger. And this is a sauger in that case, but they'll also go to places like Big Rock, Center Hill, and they'll look for large walleye, not monster walleye. They want something that's between small and big, but that's a nice hefty fish that's got a lot of egg in it and other stuff, and they take them back to the hatchery, and they produce tens of thousands of fish off of these fish that they come back and put in our water. So if you see some boats out there in the wintertime and there's nets going somewhere, don't be alarmed. They're just trying to get you more fish. And it's really fun to go out there and watch them do it in these elements. They're really good at it.
I think you and I went one year.
We did.
And they shocked up a nice muskie over at Rock Island.
We did.
It was near Rock Island.
It was Rock Island, and I couldn't believe how many walleye that I would go up there and not catch that were there. And but they're at that time of year, these walleye got something else on their minds.
Yeah.
But they did. I think we shocked up that day. Brian held his a 50-inch muskie.
It was a big one.
Yeah, it was nice, kind of like regular. It's a big fish. Beautiful waters. We have all kinds of stuff in here. So you're going to see them doing that, and we'll report more on that, okay? Now, this is
that an ocean?
It's an ocean.
It looks like an ocean.
It was a big old pond. Normandy Hatchery, that's a neighborhood in the city of Normandy behind that pond. That is a brand new lined pond at Normandy Hatchery in Middle Tennessee, one of our state-of-the-art hatcheries that's having a lot more ponds added to it. I just want to tell you that as a sportsman in Tennessee, it's where some of your dollars go. This is just one pond. It was the biggest one there. It's not in use yet. It just recently got lined. This is what they do so they can help keep the critters out of it, and it's easier to clean and all that stuff. It'll be filled with water in the next year or so, but there's another 6 or 8 ponds around it, smaller, that are being built, making this hatchery larger so we can produce more fish for sportsmen across the Tennessee. And that's one of them. That might actually be one of the reservoir ponds where water goes into from other ponds, and sometimes they'll dump brood fish into them for a little while. But there's a bunch of these there. We'll get you caught up with all that, because even though it's in Middle Tennessee, southern Middle Tennessee, it's producing fish that go all across the state. Just like a lot of the other hatcheries around the state will bring some fish here, or we trade out or whatever. Always trying to figure out what's the best, what hatchery should raise this fish, and where those fish should go. But Normandy's going to be huge after this. It's already a big hatchery.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, looking forward to all that happening. We'll keep you updated on that. Our phone. Let's talk about our phone.
Yeah, look at that.
Talk about it?
Look at that brand new screen.
You
there.
had a lot to do with this now.
This is a new look of our smartphone app. It's really similar to the old look, but you see some new buttons at the bottom, and you see a little different design, and looking forward to getting this out. Hopefully around March is what we're shooting for.
We want to try to do it when the new license comes out, so it all kind of work together. But I want you to look at, Jason and I are particularly proud of that last button down there, the one that says Stay Connected.
Stay connected.
And then on the bottom left, it says News, and you'll see a little Facebook icon in there, and Twitter icon, and another icon.
It's Instagram, yeah.
Instagram. You click on that, we'll get all those social media, but we also have our newsroom in there and our tack board in there.
Yep.
And it's going to be very effective for keeping you in touch with what news that's going on with us. It have our podcast connection
links
in there.
Links to the podcast will be there.
So we have all that there in addition to the how to buy a license and report your harvest and boat renewal and regulations and sunrise and moon phase and You can do your current location, so if you're like me and you're lost, you can help yourself get out. I needed that a long time ago. I would be a lot less lost. But anyway, we're proud of it. We'll announce it more as it gets closer, and it's going to work a lot better for you than what we got now. It's just time to go to that next phase.
Yep, that's it.
Jason worked hard on that, by the way. Had some great ideas for it. We worked with Michael May and his crew out of our IT division. And really appreciate them, and also Tracy Porter, if she's watching. I don't want
GIS,
to GIS. All right. Then
appreciate all their work.
We do. They're terrific. Small game season.
Yep.
All right. The great news about small game season is that big game season or deer season's coming to an end, right?
Yep. Slowing down.
Slowing down. And so at least by the time the kids get through hunting in mid-January, you will have all the way to the end of February to have outside pretty much by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Take your dogs out there, go quail hunting. That must be a Tom Wood photo because that sure is good.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Go out there and go quail hunting, go rabbit hunting, go squirrel hunting, just whatever small game is open. All those are open till the last day of February, the 3 we just mentioned.
Right.
And get your dogs outside. You don't have to worry about running into deer hunters that time of year. But go now, but you go then. The deer hunters are out, and it's all yours. We have a lot of wildlife management areas that are open to access. If you don't have access on private land, a lot of WMAs, many of them are in that guide that Jason's looking at.
It's page 18 for the small game hunting seasons, and they show your open and close dates and your bag limits. So just check your guide, page 18.
All right. Also coming in 2017. Jason, did you want to add something?
Nope,
Okay.
I'm good.
The turkey study that we're talking about, Richard Kirk does a really good interview, also found out on one of our shows about a study going on in turkey that's going to be really going into its, I guess, first year in the spring. Probably already some work being done on it. It's just a study to discover what's going on with our wild birds in Tennessee. There's some issues down in southern middle Tennessee, and the study's not just about southern middle Tennessee. It's about what's happening with turkeys in Tennessee. It may not be anything bad happening, but it's a 5 or 6 year study. The results we're hoping will help us give us information across the state about what's going on with birds. We are in the post-restoration era. We're years behind it now. That don't mean we don't move a bird here or there every now and then, but we're in the post-restoration era. What's happened now that they've had a lot of years not having birds added to their population? What's going to happen in the future? Is there not enough food? Is there carrying capacity? Are there diseases? A lot of information that we'll get one of these smart guys on here to talk about, and we'll be updating you about in the weeks and months and maybe years ahead.
Yeah, we'll have results from those studies.
We do.
We'll talk about that.
We will talk about that, and it's an extensive study being done by University of Tennessee or one of those universities.
Yeah.
And, we'll have more about that, but it's being conducted down in southern middle Tennessee, which is like Lawrence County, Wayne County, those areas right in there.
Right.
Okay. Boat shows.
They're coming up right around the corner.
They are. We're going to be at a lot of boat shows. We're going to be at a lot of fish shows, and we hope you come to them. This is a chance we have. There's a bunch of them across the state. I'm going to name one or two in Middle Tennessee because that's the ones I'm most familiar with because I've worked them for 1,000 years. Not this year, but I have. There's one down at our new convention center downtown in Nashville. It'll be in January. It's Nashville NMA Nashville Boat Show. And then we're going to have a fish and boat show over at the fairgrounds a few weeks later, I think. All that's listed out do a search for them. And then in February, there's the National
Wild Turkey Federation.
Wild Turkey Federation. So you got all that to look forward to.
That'll be at Opryland.
Be at Opryland. But there's shows going on all across our state, and our guys, like you see sitting in this boat, will be at those booths. It's a way to go get a lot of your questions answered and about boating and about boating needs and pick up some boating information. But we'll be at all over the place coming up in the next few weeks ahead. Allen Herald, if you're in Middle Tennessee, and Barry Cross will be handling the ones in the mid-state. And there will be a whole bunch of boating officers there who are terrific and really good about answering your questions and wanting to help you out. So
boating season will be right around the corner.
Get your kids in that course if you don't know what that is, or take the test. You don't have to take a course. I did recently. I took it online.
Yeah.
And even passed it. So I actually have my boating education, and I didn't have to take it. You don't have to take it unless you were born after January 1st, 1989. But if you're born after that date, you got to take a course. You got to take a test and pass it. I recommend you go into a course before you take that test.
Right.
At least do it online. But if you can go find an Allen Herald out there to teach you, your kids will be much better off. You can put Tucker in it?
He will have to if he's going to drive a boat.
One
of these days.
All right. We're getting close to the end here. We okay on time?
Yeah, we got a little bit here. Okay. About 6 minutes.
All right.
5
Asian
minutes.
carp. That's coming up also this year. Our guys are going to continue to work on the Asian carp. You'll be hearing us talk more about it, but the Asian carp is, if you ask some of the fish biologists, the number one issue in the land, at least or on the water, in this part of the world, with their concerns for this invasive creature called an Asian carp. There's big head carp, and there's silver carp, and there may be one or two others in there, but this is the big issue. And we went out earlier this year. Was it November?
Yeah.
It was in November.
It was
and
cold.
They did a carp blitz. They did okay. They didn't do what they wanted to, but part of what they were trying to discover with this carp blitz is the best time to go do the carp blitz. So they're going to continue to do this stuff, try to catch more fish, try to figure out how to get them out of the water, try to get them more, try to get commercial fishermen more involved, try to help get a market created or more markets created, because there's some created to get people buying these. And if you catch one, do not throw it back in. In fact, take it to the house and eat it. I understand they're terrific.
They're not bad. I think they're a little bony, and maybe you got to work around those. But other than that,
cleaning it will be the thing. And
it's good fish, good eating.
Next blitz, if they have a good day, we'll get one or two and have a demonstration and put it on Facebook and cook it.
How to fillet it, how to fry it.
I mean, they're sifters. They sift. They don't need a bunch of stuff off the bottom. Their meat should be delicious. It's just getting in there and getting it off. But they reproduce by the driggins. And so our guys in the fish division, they're working with Kentucky on this. I don't know if you can see that shot all the way at the bottom with David Roddy, but he's holding a skeletized.
Oh, yeah.
He was having fun with it. And a little skeletized, somebody had thrown one up on the bank or it had died somehow, and it was there. Anyway, Brian James, did we talk about him? Did I go into length about him?
We're not in length. We're going to hit the cypress trees, and then
here we are.
He's
We're here
pictured,
right
yeah.
Okay, cypress trees. Mr. Cypress Man. If you go out on the Percy Priest Lake in Middle Tennessee, you're going to see these trees all over, and they're in this time of year. This is the flatlands up in the lake. Water's dropped below them, but when that water comes back, they turn green and beautiful. And they have these big knees. The bigger they get, the bigger knees they get, and these fish just get all over them.
Yeah.
And otherwise, there would be nothing there but mud. But that man on the left, Brian James, and that's Wade, his buddy next to him. But Brian is retiring on at the end of this year. December 31st is his last official day. And I just want to say goodbye to Brian and how much I appreciate him. He has done more. They need to rename Percy Priest Lake to Percy Priest Brian James Cypress Lake, or I don't know. And he has planted thousands and thousands, or helped plant. Others have helped. Thousands of cypress trees in there, and you can't tell that there, but that's what he's doing in between all those stalks. He's putting in tiny little seed in his hand. He's putting those tiny cypress trees in, he and Wade, and he's been doing that for decades. Started with a biologist named Doug Pellerin, who retired before you ever started here, Jason.
Yeah.
And Brian has just kind of continued it and has just done a fantastic job. So when you go riding around Percy Priest and you see all these trees and they're green and beautiful in the summer and there's water over those knees and you throw a buzz bait in there and get you a big bass out.
We have to try that.
And just say thank you to Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
And just like all Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency employees, they're everywhere, got their hands in everything. I mean, fish guy, but he was helping a dove hunt here this past season. One of the dove hunts I was at. So
doesn't surprise me with Brian to the bitter end.
Always helping out where they can.
Brian has been on so many things through the years. He's been a great employee, and I know he's looking forward to getting on with his next life. Really good taxidermist. He's an artist. He's a really good photographer.
Yep.
And Brian won't have any problem doing work. I just think he's ready to go do something else.
Yep.
No more cypress trees, Brian.
Yep.
Go fish them now. And finally, let me at least mention our license coming up. License sales.
GoOutdoorsTennessee.com.
GoOutdoorsTennessee.com.
Or TNWildlife.org will get you there.
Yep. You're going to be learning more about it. We've talked about it a lot, but some of you aren't going to be buying your license until March 1st or thereafter, and you're going to see a whole different thing when you go out there. You're going to like it if you give it some time. Brant Services has done a great job with their transition.
Right.
Vendor is that sort of that wonkish inside talk that might bore you, but it's important to you because it's how you buy your licenses. And it's going to be a lot better both in the license agencies in the field, or if you go on the site and buy right here. We're going to do a video pretty soon on something called the collector license. It's a beautiful $5 card that you can put in your pocket, Ralph McDonald art, and I'm going to order one ASAP.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking about that more, but you're going to like our new licenses this coming year, the way you get it, how easy it is to get, and how you can re-get it if you lose it.
Yep. Hey, thanks for watching this edition of Tennessee WildCast. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on TNWildlife.org, we're on TNWildcast.com. So just get out there and listen to us, watch us, and keep coming back because every week we're still out there.
And what we should say in a couple more days,
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, everybody. We hope you have a great 2017.